Hi, viewers. Welcome to the L Cube Show. In today's podcast, we're going to speak about every kid's dream, which is space, astronomy, planets, stars, sun, galaxy, Milky Way. So, today's podcast, we have Kalyan Vasant, who is a space enthusiast. As kids, we're all space enthusiasts, but Kalyan has taken it way forward into his life, and he's still a space enthusiast who is really crazy about space, and he has really good information, and he keeps reading about space, and he keeps researching about space. He's really fascinated by what's happening up there. And the most important part, which we all want to know, are there aliens? Is there life other than Earth? Is there life in any other planet, in any other star? I don't know, any other galaxy, and how far are they? They reach us. Have you seen an UFO in your life? There are so many viral videos on internet these days saying that there is a UFO here, we saw a UFO, and then there are mobile videos we see as well. Please do comment underneath what your opinion is. Do you think aliens are there? Do you think there is life apart from Earth? And are they already with us? Do you think they communicated with us? Please do comment. There is a surprise gift for the wonderful comment and the most unique comment. Please do comment what is your favorite planet and why. You do have an amazing gift giveaway. Please do comment. And let's get into the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribers up. All our subscribers family, please do get the subscribers up. Get all your friends, family subscribed to this interesting podcast where we all learn together. Thank you. Hi, Kalyan. Welcome to the L Cube Show.
Hi, Pratisha. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hi. So, for the viewers here, Kalyan is a software engineer by profession, but you are a space enthusiast, right?
Yes.
We're all space enthusiasts, but we stopped it when we were kids, but you're still taking it ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
why? Just tell me why.
so in childhood, I used to read a lot of, science fiction books, and I always wanted to do something in the field of space. But of course, due to circumstances, I became a software engineer, and now
Okay.
when I find time, I'm just, like trying to read the space books once again,
Mm.
and also trying to explore a lot of blogs and also a lot of videos, and
Okay.
also recently I've started posting reels on Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, whatever I'm learning, I thought it's better to share with everyone. So that's why I started creating reels and shorts also. And this is
Okay.
something which is interesting to me. So that's why I end up doing some 3 to 4 reels a week, but I'll increase the frequency
Okay.
eventually.
You
Yeah.
don't like Earth? You don't like Earth?
I do. It's not like that.
Okay, because
Yeah.
some see, everybody has their own opinion. I feel like
Yes.
Earth is fine, Earth is okay, we're doing good. I always find that why are we going and wandering, and why do we want to do all this? But everyone can have their own opinion. But it's fascinating. It is definitely
Yeah. It
fascinating,
is
though.
fascinating. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So first, tell me what first thing when we talk about space, people start with this black hole. Okay, whatever that black hole
Yeah.
is. And in one of your reels, you're talking about white hole as well. So the new terminology.
Yeah.
So what are these black hole and these white holes? Did we all start? I mean, like, did all these galaxies and everything start from there? Is that what happened?
No, so I mean, as you know, there is a theory called Big Bang theory, which
Yeah.
is taught in our school. So,
Mhm.
which of course says that our universe started from a small dense point which exploded, and
Mhm.
that is
But is it
how the
proven,
universe.
Kalyan? Is it proven?
It is not proven. So,
Okay.
what recently happened is, as you may be aware of, last year people sent James Webb Space Telescope into space, especially to like find whether Big Bang theory is true, because James Webb
Okay,
Space
you have
Telescope.
to tell us what James Webb Telescope is first, so that we can.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just refer it as JWST from now. So
Mhm.
JWST is James Webb Space Telescope, which was launched by NASA last year. So the capability of this telescope is it can look 12 to 13 billion light years. So
Okay.
the distance which light travels in space in 1 year, we refer it as like 1 light year. As per Big Bang theory, so maybe more than 13 or 14 billion years is when the universe was formed. And
Okay.
so far, we didn't have any technology to look uh, like 13 or 14 billion light years. So they made James Webb Space Telescope so that it can capture the images like 13 to 14 billion light years away. So which means that our universe was formed 13 billion light years, let's say,
Okay.
previously.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can manage to capture the light like which is coming from 13 billion light years away, which means that we are literally seeing images which are 13 or 12 billion years old, because that's how it works, right? Because if you see
Okay.
currently, if you look at the sky, some of the stars are literally thousands of light years away. So we are
Yeah.
seeing this position of the star, which was actually in that position some 1,000 years before. It
Okay.
is not exactly now, the star is not in that position because it takes 1,000 years for us to see the light that it takes 1,000 years for the light to reach the earth. So
Okay.
similarly, so if we can see the light that is like 13 billion light years away, we may get some clues whether our universe started with a big bang or not. But as
Okay.
it looks currently, it has been 1 year since the telescope is in space, and with some early images it took, we are still not. There is no conclusive evidence that our universe has
And
formed from a big
yeah,
bang.
and
Yeah.
why is it placed between Sun and Earth? This JWS James Webb Telescope.
Okay. So this James Webb Space Telescope. So there is a site which has scientific instruments,
Mm-hmm.
and that so those instruments, they capture the infrared radiation which is coming
Okay.
from, like as I've said, 13, 12 billion
Mm.
light years ago. So
Mm.
that site should always remain cool, which has scientific instruments. Okay.
Okay.
So that site should face away from the sun always.
Okay.
So these scientists have deployed it in such a point, so it is called as a Lagrangian point. Okay,
Okay.
so it revolves around the sun, but Earth will be in the middle. Okay,
Right.
so that way one side will always be facing away from the sun, and one face will be facing towards the sun.
Okay.
So that way the instruments that will be protected from the sunlight, because those instruments are really sensitive scientific instruments, so they should not literally be exposed to the sunlight. So that's why the decision was taken to deploy it
Is it why in
strategically.
one
Yeah,
of your reels,
yeah,
you were
yeah.
talking about that they're using sun as a telescope? So
Okay, yeah. Uh,
so
yes, yes.
should we understand in layman terms? I'm trying to understand here. So let's say in our galaxy we have the sun, and then we have all these planets going around, right? So
Mhm.
we are trying to look through the sun using sun as the telescope as well, and then go beyond our Milky Way so that we understand where it all started. Is that what is happening?
So that is a wholly different concept. I mean, it's not related to James
Okay.
Webb Space Telescope.
Okay.
So that concept is
So
called as
what is this
gravitational
telescope
lensing.
aimed at? So when we are looking in the telescope, it should be aimed at something we are looking at, right? So what is it aimed at?
You mean the JWST?
Yeah, the DJ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the JWST, it's aimed at various points, not only a single point. So
Okay.
various points, uh, it is literally looking at, as I've said, like 10 or 11 billion light years away. It has already captured certain images,
Mhm.
and they are publicly available to see. So it has literally captured galaxies which almost formed some few million years after the Big Bang has happened. So yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it is
So
aimed at looking at like very distant galaxies which are several billion
around
light years.
us, around us, we could
Yeah,
say.
but far away from us. So
Okay.
just to make conclusive evidence on the Big Bang, whether Big Bang happened or not. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So is there any other similar pattern, like where we have sun and all these 9 planets or 8 planets, whatever you want to call them? Is there similar pattern like this in space?
Yes,
Some.
yes, of course,
Okay.
a lot of stars. So scientists have found a lot of stars have planets, going around them, like revolving them.
Mm.
And also, most of the stars have something called as this habitable zone. So where
Okay.
temperatures are likely for life to exist. But of
Mm-hmm.
course, the nearest star itself is about 4 light years away, which means if
Mm-hmm.
we just point a light laser beam or something which is so powerful, it takes
Mm-hmm.
it 4 years to reach the nearest star. So,
Okay,
and
so
also,
I have to stop you here. What is one
yeah.
light year into our human Earth years?
So 1 light year I mean, just to keep the terminology clear, like for all laymen. So if you just point a light at something, so the time the light takes to travel like 1 year, it is called as one light year. So Earth years, if I have to simplify, it is like it comes into millions of years, definitely.
Oh,
Uh,
right.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So now how many planets do we have? 8 or 9? Why did we study 9 in the first place? And then why do we have
Yeah,
8?
yeah. So yeah, we do have eight. So we
Okay.
discarded Pluto because Pluto, like as scientists said, it's a dwarf planet.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's why
Okay.
they
You
had
have to
to
explain to me there. What is the
yeah.
categorization that everyone else got accepted into the planets and why Pluto, disqualified? So
Yes, yes.
what happened
So
there?
initially, Pluto was observed with a telescope long back, as I can say, maybe more than 100 years back. So when they observed with it with telescope, at that time, with some rough estimates, they estimated its size to be way bigger than Earth. But
Hmm.
as technology improved and people started taking accurate measurements, so in today's date, Pluto is even smaller than our moon. So moon itself, as you know, is one-fourth the size of the Earth, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so there recently as in like 10 15 years in that time frame, scientists have put a criteria strictly to qualify as a planet.
Right.
So yeah, so the first criteria, so the Pluto fails in one of the criteria. I'll explain it. So
Mhm.
it should have cleared its neighborhood, which means there should not be any space debris like sort of asteroids or like space rocks or something which are closer to the planet.
Okay.
So which means Pluto has a lot of space debris around it, which we call it as even Keeper Belt. So Pluto is near to the Keeper Belt. So Keeper Belt.
Which Jupiter also has, right? Jupiter also has similar kind of asteroid belt around it, right?
There is asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Uh,
Yes.
so which is orbiting the sun, in fact.
Okay.
But it is not anywhere closer to these
Right.
planets. So these
Okay.
planets are gravitationally strong.
Okay.
So there is, but Pluto has debris around it. So it
Okay.
doesn't clear its neighborhood. That's where it fails as a planet. So that's why it doesn't qualify anymore as a planet. So that's why scientists call it as a dwarf planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just kidding. This is just for for funny purposes. So as
Yeah. Yeah.
we're creating so many debris around us, is Earth soon not gonna be the planet also? Are we gonna cancel it too? Because we
No, no,
are creating a
no.
lot of debris in the
No,
space.
that is a man-made thing, right?
Yeah.
As in one of my reels, I spoke about low Earth orbit, so which
Yeah.
is ranging from 160 kilometers up to 2,000 kilometers,
Yes.
where usually these communication satellites are deployed, like
Yeah.
communication satellites
No,
or
no, no.
these
I,
weather
I get it.
forecast.
Where
Yeah.
I'm coming from is that it's just because we are qualifying everybody. Let's say at one point all these planets disqualify us because we have more space junk than them.
No, no. I mean that is we are
Yeah, it's
creating it.
just funny side to it.
For
I'm trying to just
yes,
be,
yes, yes,
yeah.
yes. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Right. So
Yeah.
the planets has to have a particular size to it, and it should not have space debris which is very
Yeah.
closer, which can damage the planet. Is that why?
No, natural space debris, basically
Okay.
natural one, not the artificial one. Like the we have it on Earth. So
Mhm.
the planet uh, should, of course, like Pluto is spherical in shape,
Mhm.
and it also has two moons.
Mhm.
Like, but the place where it disqualifies is it doesn't clear its neighborhood, as I've said. Like
Yeah.
it has all sorts of natural debris, which means it's gravitationally not strong.
Okay, I have to take you back here. So you said it's spear in shape, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's spherical.
so all the planets are spear in shape except for Saturn, right?
Saturn is also spherical. The only thing is it has a ring around it.
Ring
Yeah.
ring around it. So
Mhm.
this planet, it doesn't have enough gravitational force. You said,
You mean Pluto?
yeah, Pluto.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. It is small enough, of course. It's so that's why its gravitational pull is less. Yeah,
okay. So if you compare with Earth, we all know that Earth has gravitational force, and it's proved because we are all still here. So how
yeah.
about this Mars, Mercury, Venus, and the rest of the planets? Can you tell
Mhm.
me like how much is the gravitational force difference between the Earth and Mars, let's say, which is the future planet for some people?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean Mars is smaller than Earth, so it's
Okay.
so the gravitation there is maybe 60, somewhere between 60 to 70% like that we have on Earth's surface. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why people say even if humans colonize Mars in future, we may have to
Mm-hmm.
spend like 3.5 hours on treadmill because our bones will not be habituated to the gravitational pull on Mars, and we may develop all these health issues. So in order to just stay in shape, and also just to give the feel to our bones and our body, like as if we are on Earth, if at all we colonize Mars, we may end up like spending some 3 to 4 hours on a treadmill every single day just to
For
make our
sure. That's like a
yeah
for sure. Okay, let's not
yeah for
let's
sure
not,
yeah
let's not go there. Okay.
yeah.
So what about all these moons? They're all naturally formed moons, right? What is the
Yeah,
difference between our moon and the rest of the moons? Because if I'm correct, Jupiter has around 92 moons.
90, and like yeah,
Yeah.
recently
So
the
yeah.
count increased to 90 plus. Yes.
How are they qualified to be a moons? Why are we calling them moons in the first place, and how are they being qualified?
Okay, so anything that orbits a planet, it can be qualified as a moon, like
Okay.
as I've made in one of the videos. So there are moons which are literally, so some moons are not even spherical in shape. So I think the moons don't have the criteria that they necessarily need to be spherical in shape. The only criteria that they have is they should be like natural ones. Of course, like Earth has only one natural satellite, which is the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So all other things, all other planets, they literally have like whichever is orbiting that planet, it qualifies as a moon in general. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So could they be asteroids as well? Or what is the difference between that
So
asteroid and
asteroid
a
is
moon?
something which doesn't necessarily orbit a planet. It as we have seen, asteroids orbit the sun. So they are
Right.
irregular in shape. They are smaller in size, but still they orbit the sun. So something which orbits a planet, it doesn't qualify as an asteroid, but an asteroid should ideally orbit a sun. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So the sun is the main energy source. That is why we are calling it the star of all the planets.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Oh, right. So there are a lot of suns. And
Yes.
recently, scientists have found there is one more planet which is similar to Earth in other galaxy.
Yeah, yeah. There are a
And
lot of exoplanets similar
and
to
if I'm
it.
correct, it's called TOI 700E. Is that the one?
There are a lot of them, but
Okay.
yeah, this is also one of that.
So it has to
Uh,
qualify what Earth has, like 70%, I mean, like 30% of land and water and
See,
like,
one thing is we are definitely not sure that about the terrestrial surface of the planet, because the nearest star itself, as I've said, the planets orbiting it, we cannot really see them with the telescope because the star
Mhm.
itself looks small in the sky.
Mhm.
So these planets scientists find using a technique called as like transit photometry, and there are like a lot of these techniques with which scientists find that there is a planet that is orbiting this star. So the
Okay.
planet is literally tiny, but even with telescope we cannot see the size of the planet. But
Okay.
uh, like depending on the light spectrum that comes from that planet, scientists make certain conclusions that okay, so and so gases are present on this planet, and also depending on the distance of that planet from that star, they'll make conclusions that okay, since this is at this distance from the star, this is the possible temperature here, and this is in the habitable zone. So that sort of conclusions have been made, and literally we don't know like how much percentage of water exists, how much percentage of land exists.
Okay.
All that we'll only come to know if we send some space probe which is closer to that planet, which ideally is not possible according to me with the current technology, because to
Okay.
reach the next nearest solar system to us would take around 6,000 years, which is a long time. Yeah.
Wow, right. Okay, so let's concentrate on our solar system for now. So we have
Yeah.
star, which is, I mean, sun, which is the star, and we have
Yeah.
8 planets for now, which are qualified, and one disqualified dwarf planet, which is Pluto. And then each planet has its own moon, which is a
Yeah.
natural satellite, basically,
Natural.
but we are
Yeah.
preferring to call it moon. Right.
Yes.
So let's come to the our moon. Okay. Why are we trying to get onto our moon? What is it that is it just because it's near to us, or is there something else to it?
No, even though it's near to us, we don't know much about it. That is a weird point. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
as you know, there have been a lot of missions in the past, in the 1970s, Apollo missions, where even humans have
I have
landed.
my doubts on it. It's not my
Mhm.
my theory, but there are people who have a theory in the world, in the internet, which says that that did not happen. I'm sure you're
uh,
aware of it too. Uh,
I'm available. I'm aware of that, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, there are two sides of it. But one side, ideally, it proves that there are evidences that it's real. But I believe it's real, depending
Okay.
on
So
the
okay,
evidences I've read.
this is
Yeah.
my question from that.
Yeah.
If that is real, let's say it's real for a while, okay?
Mhm.
I don't agree and I don't disagree either. See, we need proofs for these
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
So the Chandrayaan, we know, which is trying to go to the moon
Uh-huh.
very soon,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
Russian satellite, which failed just
Mhm.
yesterday or 2 days ago, right?
Yeah.
So if the satellites are, if it's that hard for satellites to go, how come that you can transport humans like that to 50 years ago? How did that happen so easily?
Yeah. So if you have read detail about the like
Apollo.
Apollo
Yes,
11 mission, especially,
yes,
I mean,
yes,
there were missions till Apollo 17,
yes,
but
yes,
Apollo 11 is the first mission where Neil Armstrong, Buzz
yes,
Aldrin have put their
yes.
foot on the moon, right? If you read about that mission itself,
Mm-hmm,
there were a lot of places,
mm-hmm.
I mean, in that mission. So literally, there was a scenario where so these two people were on moon, and there was one more person orbiting the moon, like that have to, like, again, these guys have to get back into that module, and that module should attach to
Okay,
the one that the person was,
orbiting
flying around
around.
and,
Yeah.
orbiting, and that has
Mm-hmm,
to return to Earth. So
mm-hmm,
there were a lot of there was a failure at that point, which
mm-hmm,
at one point where these people literally thought that, okay, it's not possible to go back to the moon, and it's all over for us. But
mm-hmm.
miraculously, some things worked out, and like at that time also people are saying that, okay, there is just 5% chance that these people can get back to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But miraculously, the lander and the person who was trying to drive these people back to Earth, everything worked out, so they came back to Earth. So there were a lot of in the first mission, like when humans put their foot on the moon itself, there were a lot of failures in that mission, but people still say that it's a miracle that they returned to
Okay, we
Earth.
could say that
And
it's just lucky back
yeah,
then.
the first Apollo 11 mission, definitely it's lucky that they came back to Earth. But depending on those point of failures and all, the subsequent Apollo missions were improvised. And also there was one more mission called Apollo 13.
Mm-hmm.
Apollo 13, so this mission itself, so there was a single point of failure where one of the oxygen cylinder blasted in the mid
Okay.
space, like in
Mm-hmm.
the way between the Earth and the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And those astronauts, again, like to save their lives, they had to go and orbit around the moon and come back to the Earth. Like, even it's a miracle that they also survived. So
Right.
Apollo 13 mission also, there are several Hollywood movies and also books that
Okay.
these astronauts have written, like how difficult it was for them. They didn't land on the moon, of course, in Apollo 13 mission. It was
Mm-hmm.
just a question of their survival.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere in the midway between the Earth and the moon, one of the oxygen cylinder blasted because there were no proper checks that happened like at the ground, like regarding the temperature inside that.
Right.
Uh, yeah, and this. So what happened is this spacecraft, it had to literally take a U-turn, like use moon's gravity to change its path and then come back to Earth. So
Okay.
these astronauts, even though they didn't land on the moon, they hold a record for traveling the highest distance from
Whole
the Earth.
moon.
They went to the dark side of the moon as well. Yeah.
Okay. So dark side of the moon, which means that the temperature on that side is 120 degrees because the sun is literally facing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
side of the moon, right? Which
Yes. Yes.
it's not dark side. Basically, it's actually the bright side, but because we can't see it, we are just calling it the dark
We
side,
are said calling
right?
it the dark side, and
Yeah.
also, as you know, moon always, it is said to be tidally locked to Earth, so we only see
Yeah.
one side of the moon always. So
Yeah.
the other side we cannot see. So
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
we.
You were speaking about it in your video, and I had this doubt that
Mhm.
you're saying that it's also revolving and it's rotating, right? At the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time. So if it's rotating, isn't it rotating completely? Why is it rotating? Like, why is it doing the half spin?
So the revolution of the moon,
Yeah.
uh, the time it takes for one revolution is equivalent to the time it completes one rotation. So if you visually see it, right, like there is
Uh-huh.
a visualization in Wikipedia, like if you see
Uh-huh.
this tidal locking,
Uh-huh.
you will see that the moon completes one complete rotation in that
Okay.
one complete revolution time. So
Okay.
since one rotation and one revolution time are the same, we feel that we only see one side of the moon always. So that is called as tidal locking. So
Okay.
that's why we always see a side of the moon where literally we feel that some sort of a rabbit is there on the moon, right? The mountains and the craters
But
in the moon.
actually it is doing the whole spin.
It is doing the whole spin, like in one complete revolution around the
Okay,
Earth.
so
Yeah.
that means whatever this bright side, the sun temperature is too high on the other side. So that is being compensated on the other side always. So it's not that the temperatures are completely cold on the one side and completely hot on the other side.
No, so but yeah, I mean, so the side that we see, like we call it the bright side, but the other side, like as you can see, this we see half moon, we see full moon, right? At that time, sun is actually facing the other side of the
Yeah,
moon.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Got it,
So
got it.
it's just that we don't see it. We call it as the dark side of the moon. Yeah.
Okay, got it, got it.
Yes.
It's just that why I asked you about the Apollo 11 and Apollo 13 missions is that in this era it's so hard to land on the moon. We saw Chandrayaan 2 failure, and then we saw
Yes, yes,
Russia satellite fail just recently. So it doesn't explain, there are so many theories which are like, so that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I mean, so as I've said, like one of those missions, like two of those missions were in fact a miracle, like Apollo 11 and Apollo 13, that the scientists survived there.
Mm.
So it is,
Yeah.
maybe we can say it's like even though it's a failure, we are lucky enough to get those astronauts back into the moon.
Yeah.
And also, as in one of the videos, I've spoken that these missions are really expensive at that time.
Yes,
So if
yes.
you just take in today's currency, it is about 150 billion USD, like for one Apollo mission, which is like a lot.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, it makes sense. They spend so much to put people on the moon. Yeah, we're not even spending, I think, 1/4 of it now, right? For the satellites to go there.
Yeah. I mean, for the satellites, it of course the budget takes less, and also our Indian Space Research Organization has proven to NASA and also all other space organizations that we can launch space missions at a fraction of a cost. They sent like this Mangalyaan mission long back, like, which is still orbiting the Mars.
Yes.
For a very less cost, which even NASA couldn't achieve. And this Chandrayaan also, they've taken a fuel efficient approach. Like as you
isn't that so amazing? Which is like in front of you, but nobody could see it, and then
nobody could see. Yeah,
it was like in front of you every day. You know that there is gravity, and then you have these spinnings. You can use that to enter into the other fields.
Yes.
That's really amazing.
That's really So fuel efficient approach, and also like it's it's fraction of the cost which other space organizations have taken it. So yeah, India is actually setting an example like how we can launch space missions at a very low cost.
Okay, so through our podcast, salute to all those scientists and to ISRO.
Yeah, definitely.
Shout out ISRO.
Yes. We need to be proud of them.
ISRO, we need to be proud of them. And let's get into the most fascinating, the best part, aliens.
Yeah.
Do you believe there are aliens? Do you believe that there are UFOs? Have you heard about these flying saucers in 60s, 70s, 80s? Flying saucers was like a big thing. And in all these movies, we all see these flying saucers. And recently we heard about this UFO visiting, and there's a biological evidence of it. What is your thought on it?
So firstly, I've seen a lot of news articles from the past. Yeah, I mean, as I said, there is no conclusive evidence of those, but like it's been proven in the past that viewers or like people who have seen flying saucers or UFOs, they turned out to be some like hot air balloons or like some other test aircrafts and like so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, recently, as you've said, there has been a like US Congress like hearing about like some three people, like one person literally he's like known as a whistleblower for even other issues. So this person who is from the US intelligence and also who worked for the Pentagon, he came forward and he made a bold statement that there is a like secret mission going on in US where they captured a flying saucer and they're trying to reverse engineer its technology, like which even the US Congress, like in that they said there is no conclusive evidence. It's just that this person has like is from US intelligence and he has worked for the Pentagon. So that's why like when this person itself is saying that, people were shocked, like whether like now people are questioning whether it's real or not, or is this person making something up. But there is no real
there were theories online these days, how everyone can speak online. So there were theories saying that if it is the case, there are a lot of satellites going around the Earth, and there are a lot of people who have their eye on Earth, whatever is happening. So how come only US intelligence can get to see it, or how come only they have the evidence? So we'll leave to it. But do you believe, by your research from all these years, your interest in space, do you think there is life other than Earth? Not exactly like humans, but any biological form. Do you believe in that?
Yeah, there could be. So because like if you see the planet Venus, right? Venus is literally the surface of the Venus is hot and the atmospheric pressure is more. But
Mm-hmm.
scientists found that like about 40-50 kilometers from the surface of the Venus,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in the clouds of the Venus, there microorganisms are existing, and because they found this gas called phosphine in the atmosphere of Venus. So phosphine like is present in larger amounts when there are microorganisms.
Okay.
So that is what they are thinking, that microorganisms are there, but we really need some samples of that like region so that we can literally conclude that there are microorganisms there. But like they are saying, like since phosphine is present, there's a high possibility that microorganisms exist in the clouds of Venus. This
Okay.
is one in our own solar system. I'll give one
Mm-hmm.
more example. So whereas uh, Jupiter has a moon called Europa, and it's
Okay.
covered with water ice. It's not ammonia ice; it is water, H2O ice
Okay.
entirely.
Okay. Okay.
And so this ice, of course, after certain like thickness of ice, like the again the core of the planet will be warm enough so that the liquid water exists inside.
Yeah.
So scientists believe that in this liquid water also there may be microorganisms, and if lucky enough, we may have some marine life also there. So if they can prove these 2 points, at least life on either Venus or either life marine life on Europa, then we can conclude that in all the solar systems, most of the solar systems around, there is life, because in a single solar system, life naturally formed in three planets like Venus, Earth, and Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
So if in a single solar system, if life had naturally formed on three planets, then of course,
Okay.
if you take the sample size of the entire universe, there may be life in every solar system in the habitable zone. Maybe
Okay.
that is the thing that we can conclude, but
Yeah.
we don't know whether intelligent life is there in any nearby solar system like humans. Yeah, that is still not proven. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah, which makes sense actually. As you said, if you have
Mhm.
8 planets, three out
Mhm.
of them, if they have some biological evidence, we
Yeah.
can't strike off the other solar systems or
Yes.
other
Yes.
galaxies which we do not know of, but they could be like millions or billions of years or light years away.
Yeah.
So what about you just said something very new to me. I never heard about Venus before. We all know
Mhm.
Mars because we all see the movie Martian and all this, and
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody is so fascinated with Mars. I never heard about the Venus. Why are we
Uh-huh.
looking at Mars then? Why aren't we looking at Venus?
So Venus on surface, it's literally not possible to survive because the pressure over there is like almost 100 times the atmospheric pressure of Earth. So it is equivalent to like someone crushing you. It's
Oh,
that. So
right.
it's not possible. And also it rains sulfuric acid on Venus. So it's
Okay.
literally not possible to stay on the surface. But as I've said, like 40-50 kilometers in the atmosphere, the temperature is kind of habitable. And also since the uh, clouds they put favorable conditions for growth of microorganisms, and also one more evidence like this phosphine gas is present, that's why scientists believe there is microorganisms life there.
Okay.
But of course
So
this life can't evolve there,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
it can't evolve. Definitely it can't.
Evolve, it will stay as microorganisms only,
Okay.
like in the long term.
So talking about evolving, do you
Mhm.
think all these planets in the solar system take Earth also? How far we know? We only know like millions of years ago. That's it, right? That is also
Mhm.
assumptions. It's not that we don't have any proofs. So do
Yeah.
you think the other planets and Earth itself is evolving over the period of time or has evolved over the period of time?
Yeah,
Is
I
there
mean,
any
as you
theory
know,
to it?
so are you speaking in terms of the evolution of life, or
Mhm. No, no,
yeah.
of the planet itself, evolution of the planet itself.
Haha, okay. I mean, so evolution of the planet, as in like Earth has formed long back, and like it has taken uh, like certain billions of years even for the first life form to appear on Earth.
Yeah,
Okay, so if you even look at Venus, and
yeah,
like I'm just
yeah.
giving an example, so
Yeah, yeah.
scientists.
That's what I want to know because if that is the
Hmm,
scenario with the Earth, they could be there in those billions of years too, right? Where we
yeah,
started. Yeah.
yes, yes. So what scientists believe is that Venus was kind of a habitable planet, like almost millions or even billions of years back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and just because of this greenhouse gases and all, the planet became really hot.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we really don't know the conditions why the planet became this hot and this so much unsustainable
Mm-hmm.
at present. But
Mm-hmm.
depending on some studies, people believe that, but again, there is no conclusive evidence. But there are some theories that Venus used to be a habitable planet long back, and now it isn't. And similar thing is with the Mars also. Like if you see Mars, if you see the image of Mars, which is also known as a red planet, you see a
Yes.
North Pole and the South Pole where there is
Mm-hmm.
like ice,
Mm-hmm.
and also there is ice under the soil of Mars. And if you melt the entire ice that is present of Mars,
Mm-hmm.
that is present on Mars,
Yeah.
the water levels would literally be like 20 to 30 feet. Like the
Okay.
Martian land would be 20 to 30 feet at like depth. That
Yes.
is the amount of
Understood.
water
Yeah.
that is present on Mars. And
Okay.
also there is a proof of rivers like present on Mars because the recent like 10-15 years back, whichever space probes or rovers
Mm-hmm.
went on Mars, they
Mm-hmm.
literally examined the soil, and also depending on the images, they concluded that there were rivers on Mars in the past. So
Okay.
again, we don't know if life existed on the Mars in the past, or
Okay.
like and with the evolution on with the climatic changes and stuff,
Yeah.
Mars just became a dry red planet with just ice existing at the poles. So we
Okay.
never know. Similar thing may happen to Earth if we just go ahead, like with the
Yeah.
current. If we go ahead with the current trend and
Do
let the
you do
climatic.
you believe in global warming?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
There are
I
a lot
think
of
it's a
theories to it
big
too.
issue.
Are you aware of it? There are a lot of theories to it too. There are people who strongly believe in global warming, and some people call it bullshit, like literally bullshit.
No, I think global warming is something which is true, and we need to take care so that the climate change becomes minimal in the future. Otherwise, the temperatures on the Earth will soon become unsustainable. And
Yeah, no, I
as
do believe in global warming too. Of course,
yeah, and
let's not, even if it's not global warming, okay. But I do believe in not ruining it.
yeah,
That I know, but I don't know about all this global warming and the ice melting in the North Pole, and then how it's going to destroy all of us. I'm not sure about that, because I don't know. I heard this theory about something like it keeps changing. The whole
Mhm.
Earth always keeps changing, and the pole keep turning. I heard that at some point Delhi can become the North Pole at some point in the future.
Yeah,
Some,
yeah,
I don't know how
that
many
will.
million years ago or whatever. But I don't know about the global warming part. Or through the podcast, I want to say that not the global warming, but we have to protect our planet. We have to protect our home. Basically, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
So coming to the point, as we were speaking about protecting our planet, what do you think about all this space junk? Aren't we ruining
yeah,
it in a similar way how we're
yeah,
ruining
yeah,
it on the
definitely.
Earth?
Yes, yes. So space junk is like as I've said, 160 kilometers altitude from the Earth up to 2000 kilometers. So if you can see the particles that are more than about like 1 centimeter or half a centimeter, if that range of particles you see, there are more than 25,000 of those. And if you just see small particles, there are millions of those. So that's why, like while launching satellite into the space also, like people make sure it doesn't hit any of the space junk in the low Earth orbit, because it ends up ruining this launch.
Mm.
So that's why space junk is constantly being monitored from time to time, so that at the time of any of the space launches, it doesn't just go and collide with one of those space junks there, and one of the particles of the space junk,
Mm.
and
Mm.
it
Mm.
doesn't ruin the launch. But
Mm.
yeah, so what I mean, there is also a theory like the space junk is also at the similar orbit where other artificial satellites are
Mm. Mm.
revolving the Earth.
Mm.
So if this collides with already existing artificial satellites, again that becomes space
Yeah.
junk, and that
Yeah.
collides with existing satellites, it becomes a domino effect, and there may be a lot of space junk.
Yeah.
But uh, but on the other side, what's happening currently is there are also missions in order to clear that space junk. We don't know how
Yes.
successful they will be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we may see in the coming 10 years some of the space junk being cleared, or at least an approach where scientists
Oh,
will have a clarity on.
there is something going on
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, there
Good.
is something going on about it.
Good,
Yes,
good, good.
there is
Because
something.
the whole my whole point is that, see, we all have these apps where we can see the stars, which star it is, and
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
that. I was surprised one day to see the app, and there were like so many satellites in one part where I'm
Yes,
focusing
yes.
my phone camera to. My phone camera is this much, right? Like
Yeah,
literally, there are like so many satellites in through towards that
in
direction.
that app. Yes.
Yeah, in that direction. Exactly. Let's say when I was a kid, 20 years ago or 30 years ago, there was nothing. Hardly
Yeah,
there would be numbered less than 100, right? But there are thousands now. If we do not start cleaning the process already, it's exactly how we are ruining the earth with plastic, or you call it whatever kind of pollution we're doing, you are causing the same thing to the space. That's literally you're damaging your home and your environment and everything, right?
Yeah, and in the next 10 years, the count may be 2.5 times the satellites in the space. That's because a lot of, like, one of this Elon Musk startup called Starlink, they're
Yeah,
literally launching, they have a plan to launch some 5,000 plus satellites. And also, not
yeah,
only Starlink,
yeah.
other like companies like which are trying to serve this satellite internet and
Mhm,
satellite phone communication systems, they have
mhm.
a plan of launching a lot of satellites in future. So it
Yeah.
is estimated that the count of the artificial satellites may range somewhere between 20K to 30K
Mm,
at a whole in the near future. Yeah.
And we need to discuss about this Hubble telescope as well. What is this Hubble
Yes, yes.
telescope?
Hubble telescope was launched like almost like in the late 1990s, I would say. So
Mhm.
just to observe the space, like outer space. So that is because from the surface of the Earth, we'll have all this light pollution and all this
Mm.
atmosphere distraction. So we won't be able to
Right.
look into the deep space.
Mm,
But
mm,
if something which is just above the atmosphere of the Earth, it will
mm.
clearly be able to look into the space because it will not have all these atmospheric distractions, and
Okay.
uh, we need not worry about this light pollution. So we can clearly focus at different parts of the solar system. And also, they made this Hubble's telescope really powerful, and because of which we also came to know about a lot of things like how do stars form from the, like, what are nebulas, and like almost at like a lot of things in the space that we know today, most of the things were confirmed by Hubble's telescope by taking photographs of them. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We cannot exclude International Space Station when we're talking about space
Yeah,
or
yeah.
economy or anything. So, how long does this International Space Station take to go around Earth?
Less than 2 hours. It is around,
The
yeah.
whole
That
Earth.
Yeah, yeah. So anything in the low Earth orbit, it orbits the Earth in like a matter of around 2 hours or less. So
Wow.
international, yeah. I mean, so there are a lot of satellites, not only the International Space Station, that go around the Earth in a similar time. So as I've said, right, low Earth orbit is like ranging from 160 kilometers to 2,000
Yeah.
kilometers in range. Anything in that range, they go around the Earth pretty quick, orbit
Okay.
around
So
the Earth
the
pretty quick.
International
Yeah.
Space Station, we have how many countries on it now? We have US, we have Russia, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of countries like that use this as
Mm-hmm.
like a base for a lot of space missions.
Yeah.
So if, let's
Yeah.
say, in future scientists have to go on to some other planet, they can
Mm-hmm.
dock their spacecraft here. They can
Mm-hmm.
just maybe pick up their supplies and then go from there. Or otherwise, it can also serve as a service station for a lot of astronauts who are doing their experiments in the outer space. And also, in fact, it International Space Station in itself is a center to carry out certain experiments for astronauts. So there are a
Yeah.
lot of purposes that it serves.
Yeah, but it is used by different countries, right? The one
Yes,
the
yes, it is.
one
It is
space
used by
station, it is
different
in
countries.
different
Yeah.
countries. So and what do you think about the star? Like, how long do you think the star? See, we don't know how long the Earth is going to be there. We don't know how the rest of the planets are going to be there. But
Mhm.
what if the main source, the sun, goes off like this? So how long that can it live?
Yeah, I mean, so the life of sun is still like around 2 to 3 billion years, where it has to exhaust its hydrogen fuel that is
Mm-hmm.
present. So to
Mm-hmm.
exhaust its fuel, it still takes a lot of time. We don't know if human race will exist until that time. But what happens is when sun exhausts its fuel, it will become bigger in size.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like it may encompass a lot of the planets that are closer to it, like Mercury, Venus, or even Earth at that time, and it would
Mm-hmm.
stay in that shape for a longer time, and maybe after a few millions of years, it will then become a dwarf, like after it
Oh, it's
exhausts
going to
its fuel,
shrink. I thought it's
it's
going to
going to shrink.
blast. Oh, it's not going to blast.
It is going to so like when the star exhausts its fuel, it's going to become bigger in size, and
Uh-huh.
eventually, after millions of years, it's again going to
Oh, it's
become a
like a
dwarf,
balloon. It's like a balloon. It's going to shrink like that.
shrink like that. Yeah. So then its brightness will relatively be slow. So we don't
Right.
know when this is going to happen, but like billions of years
Okay.
from
Right.
now, this is.
So how do we know how much fuel is left in the sun?
So there are several studies, like even I'm not really sure how people do it, but there are several studies that people do depending on the size of the sun and also the activity that's going on the sun. They make certain estimates that okay, depending on the rate at which the reactions are happening on sun, this estimated currently, like there are certain some 2 to 3 billion years is the range where the fuel is going to exhaust, after which we are going to see this drastic increase in size of the sun. Yeah.
I really hope it exists for longer because we're already
Yeah, yeah.
using all kinds of fuels on Earth, from petrol to fossil to, I think only solar energy is the only thing which is naturally
Which is, but
consumed.
we need to make sure human race exists till that time, 2 to 3 billion years. We should first of all protect our climate so that Earth becomes
Definitely, we
sustainable.
have
We
to
should
protect
stay.
our climate.
Yeah,
We have to reduce our pollution. We have to live consciously. It's
yeah,
our
yeah.
home. We should not be selfish and think that the house which we live is our home. The planet Earth is our home.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much, Kalyan. Thank you so much for giving us the
Thanks.
view of the whole the solar system. I'm
Yeah, thanks
really
a lot,
glad.
Pratyusha.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really nice, like being on your show and talking to you. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.